Okay, so now we're ready for chapter 5, which is from Ravi's perspective. Now, I think we figured out in the last chapter that this Dylan Samreen is really bad news, right? He's kind of a bully. He's mean to people. He's rich. That's what we've figured out about Dylan so far. And Joe knows all these things, and Joe's deathly afraid of him, which is just a shame. Now, Ravi does not know these things. Ravi is a little bit naive, and he really wants to be Dylan's friend, and he thinks Dylan wants him to be his friend. He thinks all the winking and the smiling is a positive thing, but Joe knows that the winking and the smiling is when Dylan's up to no good. So here we go with chapter 5, Ravi. The questions begin as soon as I step off the bus, number 7A. How was your first day at Albert Einstein Elementary School, Ravi? My mother says. Did you make any new friends? Do you have homework? Was the bathroom clean? How many other Indians are in your class? Asked Periema. Amma and Periema have been waiting for me at the bus stop. I could see them stretching their necks to find me even before the doors had opened. Amma takes my green backpack off my shoulder, and carries it as we begin to walk towards our townhouse. I would rather carry it myself, but she insists. My teacher's name is Mrs. Beam, I tell them. Homework is just some reading, and the bathroom is fine. How many other Indians are in your class? Periema asks. None, I say. I don't tell her about Samreen because I know how Periema feels about ABCDs. As we pass the big pond located in the middle of our community, Amma points to it. Promise me you won't go near that water, Ravi. You might fall in and drown. And I've heard there are leeches, warns Periema. The wind is blowing in their saris. Amma holds on to hers with her right hand. Her left hand is still carrying my backpack. Did you eat your lunch? She asks. Please, Amma, can we first get home? I will tell you everything, I say. I promise. Why can't you tell us now? Says Periema. Did you not like the umpa? A puma, Ravi? Don't blame me. Didn't I say it was too lumpy? When Periema wants to make a point, she goes on and on about it, like the rotating end of an electric drill. Periema has a trick for that. He wears his hearing aids, and when Periema gets going on one of her long rants, he waits until she's not looking and he turns them off. Amma puts down my backpack. I can't believe what is happening. Right there in the middle of the street, she's checking my tiffin box. The tiffin box is a lunch box. She's checking my tiffin box to prove Periema that I've eaten my lunch. A few kids walk by looking curiously. I bend my head, embarrassed. I stare at the spot between my sneakers. My glasses slip down my nose. I push them back up. It's empty, says Amma proudly, holding the box out for my grandmother to see. Periema sniffs. How do you know he didn't just throw his lunch away? Amma doesn't say anything. She just shakes her head and puts the tiffin box back in my backpack. She and Periema got along much better when they didn't live in the same house. I reach over, grab my backpack from Amma, and then run as fast as I can towards number 83. When we moved here first to Hamilton Mews, I had trouble telling which house was ours because they all looked the same. But now I can tell without even looking at the number. Wait! Ravi! The door is locked. Periema is napping, and Appa is at the office, my mother shouts, running after me, keys waving. I wait on the doorstep until she and Periema catch up with me and open the door. And as we enter the house, I close my eyes, I breathe in. The air is filled with the smell of Amma's cooking. She has already paired my evening tiffin, a plate of dosas and a cup of Ovaltine, the same thing I ate every day after school in India. I gave her a hug and whisper into her ear so Periema won't hear. The umpa was delicious. Thank you, Raja, she whispers back. Dinner is later than usual because Appa's train is delayed, and he doesn't get home until almost 8 o'clock. After each bite, Periema complains about the food. The rasam is too runny, and it tastes like dishwater. Have you ever heard of spices, Roshni? Appa comes to his mother's defense. Let her be, he tells Periema. Roshni is doing her best. She's not used to having to do all the cooking herself, and I'm not used to having to eat her runny ransom. Periema snaps back at him. Did you know poor Ravi had to have lumpy umpa for lunch? I glanced at my mother and to quickly change the subject. Most people at Albert Einstein Elementary School don't bring lunches from home, I say. They buy lunch at school, which costs $2.50. Is it vegetarian? Asked Emma. I wouldn't take their word for it, Emma interrupts before I can answer. I hear their salad oil has lard in it. I decide not to tell them about the chicken fingers. So Robbie never heard of chicken fingers before, and I think he's wondering to himself, am I eating a finger from a chicken? Do chicken have fingers? Chickens have wings, right? Why do we call them chicken fingers? That's just a funny thing to call them. All right, that was chapter 5.